let's jump into the settings. Now let's go into the back end of the calendar. I want to show you the settings, and how you get into the back end of the calendar is notice this little gear at the top right of your browser. It'll say settings. Go ahead and click on settings and find that you have a couple of options here. I want you to focus on the settings menu. So let's begin. We discussed setting up a time zone and country and city, etc. for your personal calendars, but I want to talk about your overall default calendar. This is your main calendar, and so the settings found here in general are going to hit every one of your calendars as it goes through. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Change the language, change the country, your current time zones. Let's say for those of us that have family members overseas, whatever the case may be, you can add an additional time zone and display it properly and give it a label. You can swap out the time zone so that you have much more of a control in your custom view. Again, all of these are specific to the user. Date format, time format, notifications can be set into your browser, but I must warn you that browser notifications and setting permissions for your browser allows a little bit more risk. And when you get to notifications, notice that you can learn more about how to grant permission to your browser in order to receive notifications. You can also customize your Google Calendar by adding events straight from Gmail. So think of all of those invites that come to you. You can add automatically, and it can only be visible to you. You can, by your calendar default, set it as such, or they can just be private. It depends. But this is going to be specific to the user. Now, a couple of these other pieces I'll go over in just a little bit, because these are going to help with managing your calendar and time efficiency. I found that since I've started using this default event duration, for example, and my working hours, as well as showing events that I've declined, and automatically adding invitations to my calendar, it generates a more custom view and an overall grip of my work and personal calendars and my tasks. So back to the settings. Go ahead and click on the default view and notice that mine is set to view by the week. Your custom view is set to 2 weeks. You can add 3 weeks if you like, but I like to view up to 2 weeks. And you have the option to go all the way up to 4 weeks, 2 days, 7 days, etc. Customize as you see fit. ACC, HBC district zip code, and this will pretty much tell me weather situation, and creating a calendar invitation and adding an address, it'll map my location automatically based on my zip code. You can also choose to show weather based on your location, show events that you've declined, and further down the list. These are interesting. Alternate calendar. Add any of these other particular calendars. Feel free to browse as you see fit and add a custom calendar. Custom calendar backgrounds. So you can enter an image that you find from the web. I think this is a pretty great one, but I noticed that the image is pretty small. So let's see if it'll take it. For purposes of demonstration, I'm going to model what a preview like this would look like. You can center it, tile it, or scale to fit. We talked about enabling keyboard shortcuts, and at the bottom of your general settings, notice that you can enable by clicking yes or no. Go ahead and click yes. It's automatically set to no. Hit save, and in just a second, your picture preview pops up and your view is customized completely. Now let's say that the image idea was not a good one, and we'll go back to settings, browse all the way down, and we'll just click on remove. Let's just say it wasn't for us. So we'll hit on save. Now, back under the settings option, I want to show you labs. Now, labs are famous in Gmail, but also it's found under your calendar. Now, setting up labs, you can navigate by going to each one and adding something by clicking enable if it sparks your interest. Things like world clock, things like a year view and calendar. You get an at a glance view. You can automatically decline events. You can hide your morning and night, a couple of other options here. So back under calendar settings, if you click on calendars, you'll find a list of the calendars that you can view and modify. You have a list of all of them, and you can choose to view them in the list in your front end view, or you can choose to edit notifications as you see fit. Edit settings, Or if this is a calendar somebody sent you and you don't want to receive notifications from it anymore, simply click on unsubscribe. By clicking on unsubscribe, notice the prompt at the bottom. You will no longer have access to that particular calendar, and other people will still be able to use it as normal. You can choose to import a calendar or export calendars here. So this is something that's helpful when you're sharing with non-Google, non-Gmail users. You can also choose to create a new calendar from here, generating the new calendar settings. Notice that in other calendars, these are calendars that only I can view. These are calendars that have been shared directly with me by others. I want to take your eye to the right hand of the middle of the page, and it says Browse Interesting Calendars. Now this is another option in the settings that adds a little bit more excitement to your general calendar view. I'm a sports fan, and I'm going to preview the Boston Red Sox calendar. In an agenda view for the month of July. So in an agenda view, I can see all of the games, I can see when they are, and I could see, well, since this is a past event, the scores for such events. So this is another cool little trick that'll help you customize views. You have a couple of other options there. You can add calendars as you see fit. And when you click on more, you can add different calendar options and interesting calendars that are preset. Notice that on the right hand side you have another menu, More Tools. And under these interesting calendars, you can feel free to add a friend's calendar. You can enter a contact email within the organization and populate their calendar, assuming that they have a preset setting to make it viewable by all. So another custom view for adding interesting features to your default calendar. Now that I'm back in my calendar view on the front end, those interesting calendars are now populated at the very top of my calendar view. It's not in my calendars function, so nobody will be able to see that I have multiple calendars blocked off. This is a private view specific for me. You'll find all of these extra calendars under another menu on the left-hand side. This brick is found under My Calendars, where we just were. If you click on Other Calendars, you'll notice all the people that you're able to share calendars with and view. This could be your department, colleagues in your area, or project partners. So for our purposes, I want to turn off the sunrise and sunset view, and if I'm interested in it, I can just toggle it back on and toggle the view on and off. So that's off, this is back on. Now, I want to show you tips for managing calendar a little bit more efficient. Let's go back to your settings. And under your settings, I want you to focus in the middle, default event duration. My short meetings are set for between 15 to 25 minutes. I also want you to focus on your working hours. Setting up your working hours manages a little bit more efficiency for other colleagues. By clicking on working hours, you're able to show a warning to people inviting you outside of the hours that you normally work. Now, if you work 7 to 4, 9 to 6, whatever it is, set those hours in here. I recommend not setting up your entire work hour frame and at least putting a 30-minute gap between the time that you need to be in the office and leave. So I have a 30-minute time window that I don't allow for meetings to populate. Now, granted, this is a message that is only a warning, so it doesn't prevent people from placing a 3:30 appointment before you're about to leave for the day. Think of it as a 30-minute window, a check-in for you to come and close out of your office projects, find a stopping place, and create a to-do list, a task list for the next day. So definitely setting your working hours is going to be an important feature for you in managing your calendar and managing multiple calendars. Once we've set up our calendars here, we'll go to the calendar settings up here at the top under your menu for calendar settings. And under the calendars menu, I'm going to find my demonstration primary calendar, which is recording calendar here. And I want to edit the notifications for this particular calendar. Now, editing the notifications are pretty specific in general use. For notifications on events on my calendar, I'm going to create a 10-minute or a 15-minute heads up before each event, and then I'm going to add it. If you want to learn more about your Google Plus settings, go ahead and click on Learn More, and a demonstration for event notifications will allow you a step-by-step how-to on what each function does. You can also list all-day event notifications and set reminders for that as well. You can choose to, if you have your mobile set up and Google Calendar synced to your phone, you can choose to have an SMS text message or an email that my SMS boxes are unchecked. That is because I have not set up my mobile phone to receive notifications. Now, if you navigate to the bottom of this page, on the bottom of the screen, you have a little icon of a phone, and on the right hand side, a link to help you set up your mobile phone to receive notifications. Now, let's say I want to run an email of my daily agenda on time when I come into the office. Reminder or a notification for event responses when guests respond to an event, or when guests respond to an event of which you can see the guest list, then you can set that up as well. For our purposes, I want to demonstrate that I'm going to click the email option for a daily agenda, and although I won't see it automatically, I'll see it when I come into the office the next day. Go ahead and click on Save. Now, one of the last pieces that I want to share with you for managing your calendar is going back to your calendar and back to your My Calendars view and finding your personal calendar. I want you to notice that when you click on Create, you can have the option to quickly add something, and like it says in the example, a 7 p.m. dinner tomorrow, and it automatically populates the date and time. Now, managing multiple calendars can be tricky, so take it easy. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at vmedina@austincc.edu, or find me under the Human Resources Contact Us page in the Office of Staff Professional Development and Evaluations. Until next time, thank you very much, and don't forget to fill out your evaluation for PD credit. Have a great day.